Hey everyone, it's Natasha, private practice consultant and ex-burned out SLP turned strategist and coach. So today we are going to talk a little bit about one of the biggest frustrations that I hear from most private practice owners, and I've said many times myself. I'll always speak for myself as well because I've been here for a very long time. But you say something to the effect of, I'm always busy, but somehow I'm still behind. Does that sound familiar? So if your days are full, but you never feel like you're getting ahead, this video is for you. So I'm going to break down why this happens and exactly how to take your time back. So in these videos, just, kind of coming at this planning and organization piece in a few different ways. I should say several, because there's going to be more. And it really comes down to whatever feels good to you. Because one strategy isn't going to work for everyone. Everybody's very different, especially with, the season of life that they're in and their type of business and so on. So I digress. So here's what's likely happening, and this can be across the board for everyone. Your calendar is filled with tasks, not priorities. You're reacting to everyone else's needs instead of leading with your own. So it kind of goes back to that people pleasing part. And you're, I'm going to say, multitasking your way into exhaustion and inefficiency. So inefficiency is huge, especially what I talk about in my signature program, the Private Practice Burnout Solution, is tackling the inefficiency piece. So in essence, you don't need more time. You need better control of your time. Because again, time is fixed in the sense that there's 24 hours in a day. So you just need better control. So that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to go back to planning in a different way. We've kind of talked about this, but I want to reframe this a bit. So let's start with what matters the most to you. So we're looking at priorities here. So now looking at work. How many hours do you want to work? Not have to work, but want to work. How many hours a week is that? And then what do you want to protect? And I've heard different variations. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it, I've read some books where they call it like tiger time, like mama tiger time, to just protected boulders of time, to what is it that you want to protect? So this can be, you want to have family dinners every night. So your protected time, say, is at, between 5 and 7 p.m. because that's dinner and family time. It doesn't have to be, or this could be all of these things. It could be workouts. Do you want to have a specific dedicated time every day in the morning? And what time is that? Is that for half an hour? Is that for an hour? Do you go to a gym? So do you also need that commute time to and from the gym? What are those times? And another one that I like is, do you want Fridays off? Is the week that you want to work, is that a Monday through Thursday kind of deal? Or is it Monday through Friday with maybe just half day of work in the morning on Friday and then you start your weekend? What does that look? What does that look like? What matters? And so you can take out like a scratch sheet of paper. Sometimes I like to write things down on paper before I actually transfer it into my actual calendar on my phone, just because I'm very visual, but I have to like physically kind of play with things, and I'm scratching out and I'm doing things, and there's again several ways you can go about it, but get just a scratch sheet of paper and kind of write it out. What does your ideal work week look like, your work schedule? Then if you say, okay, I'm just going to give an example. So like, say you want to have Fridays off, right? What does your Monday through Thursday look like? Do you start and end at the same time? So for simplicity's sake, let's say that's true. So I'm going to say my work week is going to be Monday through Thursday, and it is going to be, I start working. So say the kids are off at, school, whatever. I'm able to start working at 8 o'clock, let's just say. And so my work week is going to be the same. So I'll just say from 8 to 4, Monday through Thursday. So I've had that set up. Now, what I want you to do then is then you fit your clients in in those spots. So, right? So Fridays are gone, and then fit your clients in, wherever you can in that dedicated working space time. So what ends up happening is people kind of do it the other way around, and they adjust their own schedule based on everyone else's availability. So then maybe you have that every so often you have like a Saturday client, or there's a person who's like, hey, I can only be available to see you on a Friday, but you've already said you've protected that time as I'm not working Friday afternoon. But then you take it anyway because that's the only time they have, right? So looking at it that way is you're creating it first and from a place of what you want your work week to look like. So, and then we're thinking again about energy. So we kind of talked about that before, right? So not just the type of task, but then also in relation to your energy level at whatever point in the day. So we'll break it down into the day itself. So let's just look at Monday, right? So depending on how you set it up, if you set up just like admin or CEO time one day a week, or if you're doing it, ideally all every morning of your working days. Are you a morning thinker? Do you have kind of that after 2 o'clock lunchtime? I kind of fade out and I'm at half capacity at that point. Think about again your energy when you're planning then within that work day, right? So again, matching your high energy tasks to things that require more brain power. So that could be, seeing clients or patients. Um, and then any like deep focus type work that you need to do. And then the low energy stuff, like I think I mentioned before, like errands. If you have to run a quick errand, grab, stuff for dinner, whatever, you can throw that in the afternoon slot. For me, afternoons is when I like to run a lot of those kinds of errands because my brain's already kind of at half capacity at that point. Um, and then you can do like light work, like miscellaneous admin, that stuff that's just like ticking the boxes and doesn't really require you to like really think about like responses. And sometimes that can be a majority of emails unless it's like a bigger project. So doing this one shift alone can double your productivity and also cut back on the hours worked. So if you're doing high level, I remember, so as like a treating clinician, so not even in my practice, but I would do actually also when I was a rehab director. So if sometimes I would just be doing documentation like at the end of my day. So I just didn't get a chance. I had meetings, seeing patients, and then I'm trying to write notes. I am so tired, and it would take me 3 times as long to write a note and to respond to some pretty lengthy emails that needed a lot of my attention at the end of the day versus if I would have just done it in the moment at that point in time, it would have taken me a fraction of the time. So again, taking some of that time back and being more productive in that sense. So going back to looking at, so you've written all this out kind of on a piece of paper, like this is what I'm looking at. This is my ideal, like this is what I want. So in order, so you have your working days, then before you add anything else, actually, I'm going to challenge you. Let's do this. So at this point in the week, it's only what, Tuesday. You probably haven't sat down to really plan next week yet. Maybe you have, but not really. So before you plan next week, try this. So before you add anything else to next week's calendar, I want you to block these things first. So take some breaks. Meals. I literally do put that in my phone a lot of the time because sometimes I'm go, 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 go. I'll forget to eat and then wonder, hours later why I'm so hangry. So you're going to block out breaks, put them in there, block out meals, make sure you're taking an actual lunch break. And with that, I'll also say, if you're able to, like, half an hour is good, but if you're able to block off an hour, I would also incorporate some type of movement in there. That being like if you have a walking pad in your house or can go to the gym, or just if it's nice out, taking a light walk either before, but likely after you eat. That just, again, It just kind of helps with the reset and then getting away from likely the screen and or work because it could take up a lot of your day because you're boom, 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 schedule it in. So, and then also putting in block off personal time because some of that protected time that we just talked about. So like if it's family dinners for you, if it's, again, workout times in the morning. So say you're like, I just can't do, a walk during my lunchtime. Cool. Where can you block that off before your workday starts in the morning? And then put that in there too. Have that all blocked out and ready to go. And then depending on the frequency in which you want to do that, if it's just a couple times a week or if it's every day, make sure that's blocked off. Then, now I don't know if you remember from a few weeks ago, that CEO hour that we talked about, also, then I would put that in there as well. And again, some people might only do that maybe once a week. I would suggest doing it even if it's not an hour, even if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, doing that every morning, likely as early as in the workday of your workday as possible. So that really you get a gauge on what it is that you're executing and what are the top 3 things that are going to move the needle in your business or that are like need to do. So that again is that prioritization piece, right? It's not task, it's what am I prioritizing today that needs to be done from a CEO perspective or a business owner perspective. So once you do all these, so again, we're talking about planning for next week, then you can go back and then put in your clients, your meetings, your appointments. If they don't fit with what you already have written, change them. Just change them. So that can be easy. That can be you sending an email to so and so. Like if it's a work meeting, let's say, hey, I have a conflict. Can we change? And then just offer an alternate time of the day, or if it needs to be a different day, then provide that. And just, again, it goes into last week when we talked about boundaries, and I gave you a little script, and I got so excited about that and the feedback that I got. I actually created a whole nother guide that has I believe five different scripts that you can use for various situations like that. So I haven't done it yet, but I'll put it up on my featured section for you guys to grab. It's wonderful. I think it's a must-have. So, lost my train of thought here, but yes. And then, so yeah, if everything that you've already, so those priorities that you put in there, your eating, your breaks, and all the things in your protected time, if these now client work-related things fall outside or conflict with what you already have, then those need to get changed as best you can. Sometimes it's not a perfect system and some things can't get changed, but I would at least attempt to create as much of an ideal schedule of yours that you want in the time frame that you want. And eventually it's going to work out week by week by prioritizing those pieces first. So it's just another way again to think and approach planning from that perspective, which I think is really important. So busy doesn't mean productive, and busy is just that. It's busy, it's exhausting, it's not fun, and it's surely not fulfilling. So it's so important to continue to, it's a work in progress. Again, it's not a perfect system when we talk about planning. Our schedules, things fall through, things happen, scheduling conflicts come up, life happens. However, it's how we approach and plan best we can. And then I should make another video about this, is how we go about not putting out fires, but how we can problem solve when things fall through. And that's another way of approaching planning, is giving yourself the wiggle room and some freedom that if something does fall through or something takes longer, it's not gonna completely crash and burn the rest of your day, let alone your calendar. So there's other pieces to that. But again, I'm not trying to have this video be an hour. So that I definitely can make another video about that. Um, so with that being said, your calendar, again, is not the problem. It's just how you approach it might be the problem. So I would try these things in that order for next week and see how that feels. And with that, I also, have mentioned before, and I will mention again, is that the shift that we make inside the practice breakthrough assessment, which is that audit, will help with not only your calendar, but the way that you operate your practice. So if you want to find the time traps and fix them as soon as possible, I would drop calendar in the comments and I'll send you a link to book your assessment today. And I would love to just help you get more done in less time and feel like you're in control of your week, your month, your year, and the years to come. Until next time, talk soon.